itself that the buyer pays, and you as the artist get to keep the rest. And if you sell 100 streams of that, at $5 a piece, and you're an at-home indie artist, that's groceries for a week or two. That's big.
Yeah. So for lack of a better term, I'm going to try to play devil's advocate, right? So you have this ticketing platform. You have whatever amount you want to charge. I know most of us, we want to charge $1 billion per ticket. I get that. Right. That's how we think as musicians, because we think we're the best thing in the world. But for some of us who are a bit more measured and a bit more realistic, when I'm charging my fans, let's say it's $5, how do I make it worth it? How is this different than you just looking at one of my YouTube streams? Or how is this different than you looking at some stuff I've done on IG Live? Or how do I make it worth you buying a ticket? So I think that's really what I'm looking at in terms of, I want them to buy a ticket and I want them to feel like they got something. What advice would you provide in terms of just content for that time that I would be performing?
One of the things I love about Veeps, especially, and I keep going back as as if it was product placement, is that they allow for upgraded experiences per the level of ticket you buy. So let's say you're selling a $5 ticket, but also you want to sell them a $15 ticket option where you get the ticket to the stream, but I'll also send you a free copy of my 7-inch that I recently cut as a demo. I'm going to send you a free copy of that, and if you pay $20, I'm going to send you a free T-shirt. Or I'm not free, but I'm going to send you a T-shirt. And you're giving people a level as to how much they want to support. What a lot of people are doing now, amazingly enough, is they're offering tickets at a variety of different levels, and you're getting the same experience. They may even just say, you can buy a $5 ticket, a $25 ticket, or a $50 ticket, and you'll get the exact same thing. But local donors, for people that really want to support these artists and have the means to do so, it's amazing. They're finding a lot of sales of those $25 and $50 tickets, and even more. And that obviously takes a while to build. However, when it comes to keeping it worth it, something that the fan really feels like they got their money's worth and that it's special to them, they're going to feel engaged. The artist may say, "Hey, I see you, Music Fan 101 in the comments right there. You just requested this song, you got it." Or you may want to appeal to a localized type of, I don't even know, depending on where you're from. You may want to appeal to something localized, like a local trend or a local fad, or you may even want to have a special guest tune in. It's hard now with COVID-19, but finding that balance, depending on the artist you are, if you can really create something fun, if you make a game out of it, if you really just find, if you find a way to really stretch your brain creatively and turn on your business brain, even if it's not really something you're practiced with, it's not as hard as it would sound to get even 30 to 50 people to come in, because that's a start. You have to start somewhere. You have to start with your iPhone or your laptop, and then maybe a year later, when you've been doing well with it, you buy a better microphone or you buy a nicer audio interface. Sure, it's a process. It's not an overnight thing. It really isn't.
Got it. So, and again, I'm going to still kind of hang around the same area, and if you can just bear with me here, because I want to make sure that our audience can walk away with very practical things that they can implement, research, or dig further into. So let's say I have my the ticketing thing going here. You mentioned Veeps, right? And I'm trying to put together my show. You mentioned having a somewhat a decent audio interface, maybe a laptop to get things done. From a very practical standpoint, what would you recommend in terms of a set length, right? So again, if I'm out at a bar somewhere, you may have just, background music playing, and then someone will come up and introduce you, and then you have intermission, and hey, go grab drinks and head to the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. When you have a live scenario, there's just a lot of just normal dynamics that can just make a night out really fun while watching a band. You lose a lot of that when you're sitting at home on a stream. So because, folks on the internet, when we're looking at things, we're looking at very short, IG posts and videos. The internet by nature is very abbreviated. What is the recommended length for a concert to keep people engaged, but not go overboard to where you're just boring people and, you look around and you only have one viewer and it's your grandma, that type of thing? What is the recommended length for a show or a set?
In the beginning, I wouldn't go more than 45 minutes to an hour if you're really trying to build it. I think that once you have a solid fan base that's tuning in, even at a variety of different times in the set, because somebody may leave and then come back in 20 minutes after they've been on TikTok for that 20 minutes or something quirky. They may decide to leave, come back, check it out, leave. You're going to see a variety of different people hop in and out. And that's really been the truth for any type of streaming sport, music event, or other type of event. It's just that it's an inevitability. I would say, though, don't go more than 30 to 45 minutes to an hour at the longest when you're first starting out. But really, you have to just continue to make it interactive, because you're absolutely right. It's not that typical live setting where you're at a bar, you're at a coffee shop, and you're really having that captive audience. Because people may say with streaming it's a captive audience because people are at home, but really it's not, because we live in the 21st century. There is a billion things on the internet that can distract you, or something may pop up on your Facebook if you're streaming on Facebook Live that says, oh, I want to look at that now. And then you may forget that person was live. But I've seen people get really, really innovative with how they're doing it. I saw one guy a few weeks ago where he had pre-recorded a broadcaster from the local news saying, like, hey, everybody, listen to this. And, I'm pleased to introduce to you all. And the broadcaster promoted it on his Facebook. And it's just very little things. And it's pre-recorded. You don't have to worry about the guy showing up on time. You don't have to worry about audio latency when he's trying to phone it in.
Sure.
There's a lot of things you can really do, but keeping people engaged, I wish I had a very clear and concrete answer for you, but it's really dependent on who you are and what your ability is. And you know what, if it's not for you, you may need to go back to the drawing board. But I think I think for a lot of people, you don't want to test people's attention span, especially if you're talking about millennials and people like me who just are so inundated with stuff all day. You don't really want to try people's patience too much. But at the end of the day, I always say, if your grandma's supporting you, then you're doing something right in life.
Yeah, exactly.
I love my grandma.
Exactly. All right. So you brought up something that I think that most of us are very interested in. Every time I'm on online forums, or I'm talking to other musicians or creators, the idea of promotion is always this thing that we're searching for and trying to figure out. So again, let's assume that I have my show figured out. I have the length figured out. I have the platform. I have the ticketing system, all of that. How am I promoting it? How am I getting the word out? What have you seen from your artists?
If you don't have the base yourself, you should partner with somebody that does. One thing I'll give you a great example of that we're trying to do is, one of the things we're looking to do with Veeps or any of these platforms that we're working with is we want to encourage venues and promoters around the world to get involved so that it can benefit them as well. Because they're going to be looking for ways, if they're not allowed to open in the fall, maybe, if they're not allowed to open in August or September and they still want to have some sort of money coming in to keep their people employed, partner with an artist, because they're using their promotional base, their mailing lists, their whatever they have as an outreach. They're using that to promote your show, and you're using it to promote them. So you're benefiting a local venue in the process, and you're also benefiting yourself. And another great thing is to align with a charitable organization, because they'll promote it like crazy. They'll really promote it and try to get the word out, because they're going to want donations. It's if you can co-promote it, if you will. I hate to use that word for something like this, but it really does apply. If you can do a co-pro with an organization, whether it's a venue or it's a service organization or something like that, you can really get creative with it. We're doing one of my artists is going on tour in November. They're going to be going out to the UK, and they're going to be going out to France and Finland and places like that. And we don't know if the tour is going to even happen, but what we're starting to do is they're saying, if we have to get creative with this, if we have to postpone it and even cancel it outright, we still want to find a way of doing this where we can keep the fans engaged. And maybe the artist comes to the venue and we sell 100 seats, and it's a 1,000-seat venue, maybe, a 1,000-seat performing arts center in Helsinki. They can only sell 100 or 200 seats. And they say, but let's make the other 800 seats virtual seats. And you sell them for $10, whatever the currency may be.
Yep.
And the actual physical seats are sold to the local sponsors and the local bigwigs or whatever. And it's a hybrid. And that's really what I'm predicting is going to happen with a lot of the bigger parts of the industry. And that's just a quirky way of doing it. You're partnering with somebody if you're able to partner with somebody who can make it just as beneficial to them as it would be to you, the artist, you're really in good shape. You really have to drop any fear of rejection right now, because everybody wants to talk, everybody wants to collaborate. You'd be amazed at how many local businesses, local venues, local anything are open to various partnerships that you never would have imagined possible before.
Okay. So now, based off of what you just mentioned, just about everything here, I want to take the next step here in terms of what people may be thinking out there. Some of us in our audience, they're hearing what you're saying, thinking it's great information, sounds amazing. There's these platforms, there's these collaborations that can happen and co-opting. But for some of us, I'm sure all of this feels like we're getting a brain freeze and it's just too much, and we don't know. We are hearing what we should do, but we just feel like we don't know where to start, and it feels overwhelming, and it's not a muscle that we have. How do I get someone to help me with this? Is this something that an agent will take care of? Or let's say I just want to create music. I don't want to figure out platforms. I don't want to figure out marketing. I don't want to figure out relationships. Who can help me if I just don't know what to do?
The blunt reality of the modern era of music and industry is that you can't really afford to think like, I just want to make music, unless you are lucky enough to have people from the get-go who are supporting you as your team. If you have that, it's tremendous. And if you have people that are dedicated to it on a career-like level, you're very, very fortunate, and you should embrace that. However, if you're a modern musician and you're just starting out, it's almost impossible with the level of competition out there and the level of bedroom producers out there. It's impossible, I'd say, to not have to develop some kind of a business mindset to your music. Whether you want to, be a total, boss about it, that's really up to you. But at the very least, if you don't have an aligned team with you of, an agent is really what you make it. If you give an agent a lot to work with, they're going to do what they can with it. But if you just say, you know what, book me, I'll create what I can, your agent's going to be not a great agent. I'll tell you from firsthand experience, for artists that we've really been excited about, we've signed them, and a year into it, they're saying, where's all my shows? And we'll say, well, where's all our content? Where's all our fan engagement? And an agent is really the greatest example of what we do in our career. Is the artist is in the driver's seat, the manager is riding shotgun, and the agent, the publicist, and the attorney are sitting in the back seat. Okay. We're not the drivers here. So I really think it's a harsh reality for a lot of people, and I hate to be blunt about it, but the truth is you can't afford in 2020 and going into 2021, in an era of at-home content where your kids are starting to say, Mommy and Daddy, I want to be an influencer when I grow up. Right. You can't afford to, which scares me like crazy, by the way. You can't afford to say, somebody will do this for me. You have to be creative. And then if somebody notices you, great, but you can't even bank on that, I'd say, like you could 20 years ago.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, cool, man. Well, hey, I think we've gotten through quite a bit of insight and knowledge from you today. And because you've come on here out of, making time free in your incredibly busy schedule, I just wanted to make sure that, I give you a chance to maybe share with our audience a bit more about you, about Bicoastal Productions, and, your thoughts about what you're seeing right now, and imparting advice for our audience. So most certainly, please, Jack, just enlighten us about, what you guys do, just to again, bring more credence to the things that we've heard today for our audience.
Sure. My background is I'm from a small town in Wisconsin outside of Milwaukee. I went to college at Columbia College in Chicago for arts, entertainment, and media management. And my first foray into this business was I interned at some record labels in college. I fought for an internship at the Windish agency and got it, and wrote it out for 2 terms. And I was recruited right out of college to ICM Partners here in New York, working in the urban hip hop and R&B department. Love that music, love the people. I just wasn't really a great fit for me at the time. And then shortly afterwards, I found my current company, Bicoastal Productions, and I've been with them for about 6 years now. And we represent a wide variety of artists on a very personal, hands-on level. We work heavily with performing arts centers and not-for-profits, but also with casinos, festivals, international events and venues, various promoters all around the world. And our roster includes a wide variety of different artists, whether it's classic rock,